Hey guys, thanks for subscribing to Bonsai Mirai on YouTube. If you like this video, we have a ton more like it on Mirai Live, including weekly live streams, species and technique features, and weekly live Q&As with Ryan Neal. Start your free trial today at live.bonsaimirai.com.
Inside of bonsai, calling bonsai an art form and then recreating the same pattern and putting it inside of the same traditional ceramic vessel or the same shapes that we're used to doesn't have the connotation of art. It has the connotation of craft, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes the creative mind wants to explore what happens if we merge these materials. What happens if we play on this color palette? What happens if we explore the integration of the man-made geometrical form and the organic form that a tree takes on? And that gave rise to the birth of a collaboration with Oscar Eisenschmidt. And we really wanted to create something that reflected the mountainous environment in geometric form and try to start to integrate organic architecture into the bonsai aspect and realm. Let us begin. Okay, so this spruce was designed again on a Mirai Live stream in 2017, and it has existed in this form since then, tilted up at this angle, obviously allowing the growth to continue to orient towards the sun, which is why we would hold this angle after that styling. It's had to be very carefully watered, and each year that we've come to the spring season, we've wanted to put this on a very special structure that we worked on in collaboration with Oscar Eisenschmidt, the gentleman who helped us produce and create the Artisan's Cup and all the structures for that. But the structure didn't quite age and patina the way that we needed it to, so it wasn't until this spring that we really got the results that we wanted. We're gonna dive into uncharted territories together this evening, explore, and see if we can create something magical. Okay, so we're gonna lay it down, position's gonna change, etch this position in your mind, because this is what we're coming back to. The best front for the tree was at a really radical angle in terms of how the tree was situated in the grow box. We're gonna go ahead and take the tree out of the grow box, and we're gonna start to break down the root system and free up the finer roots to see if we can get that root system to conform to that shape that will exist on the metal structure. Obviously, whoever collected this tree put this tree in the box in this position and in this shape because it had a very interesting root system that spread out almost like somebody doing the splits. And we knew that we had to see how far back can we reduce it and how much of these roots on either side of that extended root system are necessary to keep this tree alive. This is part of that exploration and breakdown process that allows us to conform the roots to the physical structure itself. How's yours looking? Yeah, I'm gonna pick that up. You wanna, there you go. And see if you can go farther in on that. Yeah, perfect, okay. I'm actually gonna create a really nice little cradle here for this so that I can hold this entire root system together and just keep it nice and solid. I don't want any more soil coming off of it. There's a really nice solid pocket of roots right here. You can see that there's another pocket of roots that exists back in here, and you notice how long they are. We're not gonna need to keep all of these, but again, we're not gonna be cutting roots off anytime soon. The root taco is something that we utilize to preserve the roots because we don't know if we're going to need to eliminate them or keep them later. And this is just a surefire way to ensure success. Now, what I would like to do one time is to pick this up, and I want to set it against this, and I want to see what the heck we have just drummed up for ourselves, okay? Okay. All right. Oh my. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, first time, for the first time.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing. The play on the color works. Okay, so I'm gonna pull you back towards me. Okay, that's gonna set that right there. How does that feel?
That's pretty secure, actually.
Does it feel secure?
Yeah.
And now that we can see it on here, we just wanna be sure that this is exactly how we want it to be on here. So you see the elevations, there's some negative space, there's actually some stainless steel ridges on this that are kind of toying with a little bit of the snow cap concept. I'm gonna take off and we're gonna be thinning and trying to reduce the length that we're having to work within the root mass to preserve all of this, because if we keep too much of it, it's gonna spread us out too far okay? But as I'm removing these roots, because they're just small patches of roots compared to the core here, and there's a lot of roots that are still coming off of this central dominant root, that means it's gonna stay alive and continue conducting sap. So I feel comfortable removing those. Definitely our concepts about bonsai probably are gonna be altered pretty significantly. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate this so that you can all see the work a little bit more, because I think we're at a point where now we get it. Okay, I'm just gonna rotate so that we can start to see this area. What happens if we pull that right there? When we secure a tree, just to be able to explore the aesthetic and see, are we on the right track? Is this the right position? Do I like what's happening here? We oftentimes find sort of makeshift loose ways to not commit to it, still give ourselves the flexibility, but hold the position so we can step back and take in the entire composition. I actually think that's better, to have the deadwood sitting against that surface, and that's gonna set us up for some success. Look at how these branches are gonna work around the geometry of that tip. We're almost at the exact position we wanna be at, which is absolutely stellar. And I think we're in a really good spot to start to conceptualize, how do we facilitate this? Okay, this is something that we can tie together just using the surface that we have here. Tie that together right there and show that sticking off of that geometric edge there. But showing this edge really nice and clean, all of these roots ideally down inside of that compositionally, and all of a sudden everything is really wonderfully contained, and we just have to deal with this right here, getting that pulled in, right? Now that we understand how we're gonna tie the tree down and where it's gonna sit on the structure, we're gonna go ahead and remove the tree, finish off all preparation in terms of the roots and the surfaces that it's going to exist upon, so we can permanently anchor these two pieces together for their lifetime as a piece of art. So we can anchor right here, and maybe we drill one more right here. So we anchor basically a basket of roots right in there. This seems natural. I think we can fold sphagnum across here. And when we start to think about, we need a cushion that exists between this surface and the roots of the tree, I think we can run sphagnum, hang it, drape it off of this top edge, and let it run down this whole thing. And if we have a basket right here stopping the fall of all of that, then we can put soil, sprinkle akadama over the top of it, mount the tree to this, and then utilize that pinch factor to hold this all together. So in order to support the tree, we created a screen basket, if you will, that sits inside of the raised metal space. This is where the majority of the root system is going to exist. The roots that are exposed outside of the basket need to be protected. We're gonna integrate soil and moss around these roots so that they have a system in order for them to survive. And pocket the roots, pocket those roots right in your little pocket. Okay, I'm gonna drop that right over the top there. Because the roots were able to be held inside of that raised piece of metal and the basket that supported that structure, we only had to secure this tree in two locations. One was up at the top with that deadwood piece extending onto the metal structure in a beautiful, small, discrete area that we could lock it down to. And the other was down low on the root that protruded from the root mass in front of the raised metal area that gave us leverage, that gave us the positioning, that gave us everything we needed to secure the tree and have complete immobility of the meshing of tree and structure. Man, that trunk comes and curves right up over the top of that structure so beautifully. Just almost like we meant to. We did. We did mean to. We did mean to. So let's go ahead and very cleanly cut right along the edge. Okay. We don't want it to fall in. It's got to stay here, right? So maybe just a little hook to tie that up in, maybe grab onto one of these thicker structural pieces or something, just so that it doesn't fall away from the structure. Coming back to the root taco, we didn't know if we were going to need that root mass or not, but after seeing how little of an impact we had on the majority of the root system and how few roots actually exist inside of this extended piece, aesthetically the tree is going to benefit, and physiologically, horticulturally, it will not suffer to reduce this small portion of root mass. We coined the phrase root lasagna to explain this notion of when we free all of these roots, we really need to have soil in between the layers of roots so the roots don't stick together and cause themselves to rot. We do a layer of roots, we do a layer of soil, we do another layer of roots, we do another layer of soil, and consequently create root lasagna to set the roots up for a balance of water and oxygen that allows them to survive and thrive. By the time we're done, you should not see any mesh, you should not see any exposed roots, and you really shouldn't see much of the artificial work. It should look set up to cultivate a really organic amount of moss in the composition that'll protect the roots over the course of time and give it an ultra-natural finish, and that's really what we're looking for. The quality of the composition is gonna actually exceed what I had expected. That's where you wanna be when you're practicing bonsai. Now, how do you get to that point? You have to expand your skill set. You've gotta build your skills, because the bigger your toolkit of skills, the more you can be malleable with the scenario. For example, this mesh basket inside of this, we didn't know it was going there. We knew that the tree probably should sit on this structure really well, but when it ended up in there, cool, let's pivot. We have a technique to deal with that. We have a thought process to deal with that. We've got the sphagnum now that's just dropping in perfectly. You see I'm just pulling this off of the wall. It's just fitting right inside. Troy's working on tucking that in and tying all of that loose root together. Any powerful composition has both the notion of concept as well as craftsmanship. And to finish off this piece with everything that we've put into it, we're gonna take all the time that we need to maximize the craftsmanship we finish off this piece with and create something truly aesthetic and astounding. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cover up the artificial pieces. I'm trying to cover up the mesh. I'm trying to pin this sphagnum between that mesh so that you can't see the mesh. I'm trying to isolate the geometry of the structure, and I'm also trying to create irregular contours through this mass that give it a lot more of an organic undulation and a lot more of a nuanced undulation. I don't want to create flat ball-like surfaces. I want to create organic surfaces. Those are irregularities, lacking pattern, having change in contour. This is what gives it a very natural feel. This project was a true meshing of organic design and natural elements. And prior to executing this composition, I was so confused around what is organic architecture and what is organic design. But seeing the way that the spruce organically nested inside of that metal structure, seeing the way that the peaks gave rise to the insinuation of mountains and really did create that landscape without literally representing them, allowed me to understand this is what they've always been talking about. This is what Frank Lloyd Wright was pursuing in the creation of his designs. This is what architects over the course of time have been striving to achieve. How does the man-made object mesh with the natural object to create a message that shows environment, that shows context, and plays on all aspects of art and design? I am really, really excited at the exploration, the discovery, and the learning that took place in this piece, and I'm also pretty stoked with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was something that opened the door to other creative notions that you can apply in your own practice. And if nothing else, at least you got to witness something truly spectacular take place. If you like, subscribe, check out live.bonsai.mirai.com to start your free trial and begin building your skills and exploring the art of bonsai like never before. We'd be happy to have you, and thanks for watching.